Testosterone. The anatomy of rage, the motivational weapon. Look around you. Look at the world we have built. It is a world softened by comfort, pacified by luxury, and crippled by the illusion of safety. They tell you that anger is a flaw. They tell you that aggression is a disease. They teach you to suppress the beast within, to apologize for your fire, to dilute your spirit until you are nothing more than a compliant cog in a machine of mediocre compliance. But they lied to you. For those of us climbing to the top of the food chain, anger is not a liability. Anger is the purest form of fuel. It is the raw, unadulterated resource that transforms ordinary men into absolute monsters of execution. For me, anger was good. Anger was good because it was motivating. It wasn't a blind rage that clouded the intellect. It was a targeted, weaponized laser focus. The more I could treat an enemy, the more I want to go and kill those guys. Man, if I could just... What did they say? And what did they look like? Do they disrespect me at all? When you recognize that the universe is an arena, you cease to view disrespect as an insult. Instead, you view it as an asset. You look for the slight. You hunt for the doubt. You memorize the faces of those who looked past you, those who smirked when you failed, and those who dared to question your trajectory. You don't get sad. You don't whine. You don't write a grievance report. You collect that energy. You store it in the deepest chambers of your mind, and you let it ferment into a volatile, high-octane rage. Anger, when disciplined, becomes an absolute power source. It keeps you awake when your eyes want to close at 3 a.m. It keeps your hands glued to the barbell when your skin is tearing. It makes you lean into the cold, dark wind when every single molecule of your physical body is begging you to stop, to turn around, and to seek the warmth of the herd. The herd stays weak because they fear the dark. But the apex predator knows that the dark is where the hunt begins. Every word of disrespect spoken against you is a blank check signed by your enemy. It is your job to cash that check in blood, sweat, and absolute dominance. What did they say about you? Write it down. What did they look like when they doubted you? Picture it. Let that image burn into your retinas until it becomes the first thing you see when you wake up and the last thing you see before you crash. The fifth round, the death warrant. There comes a moment in every true war where the strategy sheets are burned. The training camps no longer matter, and the advice of your corner becomes distant static in the wind. It is the moment where you enter the deepest, darkest corridor of human existence, the fifth round. When you entered the fifth round against Kelvin, you said, "I'm ready to die." He was looking at me, and he just had this look and swing in his hands, and I said, "You're not going to beat me. I'm prepared to die." And I meant that, man. I swear to God on my life, I meant that. I signed my death warrant right there. I was like, look, if this is how I die, this is how I die. But you see me, I was trying to get him. I was trying to kill him. This is the psychological threshold that separates the enthusiast from the immortal. Most people want success if it fits within the parameters of comfort. They want the championship, but they want it with an escape hatch. They want the wealth, but they want to keep their weekends intact. They want the legendary physique, but they aren't willing to push their organs to the absolute brink of systemic failure. But when you sign your own death warrant, you become entirely untouchable. How do you defeat an adversary who has already accepted his own demise? How do you break a man who looks at his own blood pouring onto the canvas and uses it as paint for his masterpiece? You cannot intimidate someone who has already shaken hands with the Grim Reaper. The average man plays to survive. The warrior plays to execute. When you enter that final round, whether it's the final year of your business venture, the final mile of an ultramarathon, or the final set of a grueling workout, you must look across the line at your opponent, at your obstacles, at the mountain itself, and declare that your life is a fair price to pay for the victory. It is a terrifying state of consciousness. It is a place where fear is entirely swallowed by an absolute, unyielding intent to destroy. I was trying to get him. I was trying to kill him. Every action becomes lethal. Every movement becomes absolute. You remove the possibility of retreat from your brain, leaving only one operational pathway, forward, through the chest of the enemy. Apex laws, hunt or be hunted. Nature does not care about your theories on equality. The universe does not operate on a system of fairness. From the deepest trenches of the ocean to the highest skyscrapers of Wall Street, the fundamental architecture of reality remains brutally unchanged. For those of us climbing to the top of the food chain, there can be no mercy. There is but one rule: hunt or be hunted. Every single day you wake up, someone else is waking up with the explicit intention of taking your place. They want your market share. They want your status. They want your peace of mind. They want to see you drop the ball, stumble, and fall from grace so they can feed on your carcass. If you operate with a soft heart, if you hesitate out of sympathy for those who cannot keep up, you are simply preparing your own execution. This is the law of the apex. It requires an absolute elimination of sentimentality. You must view every competitor not as a peer but as prey. You do not wait for opportunities to be handed to you. You stalk them, you isolate them, and you tear them apart with clinical, mechanical precision. Look at the people who talk about balance, who talk about taking it easy, who talk about leaving some for the rest. Those are the words of the hunted. Those are the justifications of the weak who know they cannot survive the intensity of the pursuit. The true apex predator doesn't apologize for his appetite. He doesn't feel guilt for outworking an entire room. He doesn't look back to see who fell behind. If the world calls you ruthless, accept the title with pride. It means they recognize that your standard is higher than their capability. It means they know that when the pressure rises and resources dwindle, you will be the one standing over the kill, while they are left begging for the scraps. Never show your cards. Never reveal your vulnerability. Operate in absolute silence until the moment of impact. Hunt or prepare to be hunted. There is no middle ground. There is no ceasefire in the kingdom of power. The God complex, better than the rest. They want you to be humble. They tell you to bow your head, speak softly, and blend into the gray mass of ordinary society. They tell you that believing you are special is a delusion. But history was never written by the humble. Empires were never built by men who thought they were just average. The top tier of human achievement requires an unwavering, almost pathological belief in your own superiority. Somebody wanted to, I don't make mistakes. I'm not just like the rest of you. I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better. Say it. Internalize it. Let it become the core foundation of your psychological framework. To win at the highest level, you must possess a mind that refuses to accept the possibility of internal failure. When you look at the masses wasting their hours on endless scrolling, poisoning their bodies with cheap dopamine and whining about their circumstances, you must realize that you are not cut from the same cloth. You are an entirely different species of entity. I'm not some weak-kneed crybaby that goes around apologizing all the time. The modern world is obsessed with the culture of apology. Everyone is walking on eggshells, constantly begging for forgiveness for their strength, for their ambition, for their success. They want you to apologize for being disciplined because your discipline highlights their utter lack of it. They want you to apologize for your wealth because your wealth exposes their poverty of effort. We do not apologize. We do not lower our sails so that others don't feel inadequate. If our light blinds them, let them close their eyes. If our pace breaks them, let them exit the track. You must develop an absolute immunity to the opinions of the collective. When you step into an office, a gym, or an arena, you must carry the quiet, unshakable certainty that you are the most dangerous asset in the room. This isn't empty arrogance. It is an earned arrogance. It is the result of thousands of hours spent in the dark, doing the things they couldn't do, enduring the pain they fled from, and building a mindset that cannot be broken by cheap criticism. You are better. Act like it. Execute like it. The pain zone, where we live. Where do you go when the motivation runs out? Where do you turn when the music stops, the lights fade, and the applause dies down? Most men look for the exit. They look for the recovery protocol, the rest day, the comfortable bed. But for the elite, there is a different destination, a place where comfort goes to die and where legends are forged in raw fire. Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live. The soul takers, who carries the logs. When the storm settles, when the dust clears from the battlefield, and when the day's work is laid bare for the universe to judge, a final question remains. A question that filters the talkers from the doers, the pretenders from the pillars of strength. Who's going to carry the boats and the logs?